Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me. I was able to hit the thrift shops again this week, so we're going to dive right in today's video and talk about some of the things that I found in the thrift shops that I brought home that I want to share with you. Curry in the background here, he's chilling, and I did pick up this wooden shelf, and at the bottom it has this towel bar. I thought that it was pretty cute, and I've been looking for one of these for our upstairs bathroom. So the thing that caught my eye about this one was the fact that it had a towel bar built in, which you don't always see, and then this kind of crisscross pattern across the back. They did have $30 on it, which is more than I wanted to pay. So as I was just kind of deliberating that, I did notice that there was one of these spindles missing right here, and then actually another one right here. And so that made me think, well, maybe I'll just ask about it, because I doubt that they noticed that when they priced it. And they went down to $9.99, which was a pretty big leap from $30. So I was happy with that, and I thought I would just try to repair those pieces, or I could just take them all off. They're pretty easy to get off from the backside. But first what I'm going to do is try and repair them, and I thought that I would actually use, maybe, this is goofy, chopsticks, because I have this set of chopsticks that we don't really ever use, and they aren't exactly the same size, but I bet that if I just use the thicker end and place it, it wouldn't look too out of place. So I'm just gonna give that a shot and see if it works, because I do want to paint this piece anyway, and so it might blend right in pretty seamlessly. One of the main reasons that this shelf caught my eye in the first place was because I've been scrolling Magnolia's website, and I love this Daphne wooden shelf that they're selling, along with others that I've been seeing. This is not the only one. I do think that mine has some similarities with that style, and then I also found almost the exact same one that I found for more than that on Etsy and eBay, as you can see there, more than my $10. I used those chopsticks and they worked great. I'm sure if you look closely you'll be able to tell the difference, but honestly I think that they'll work just fine without appearing to be off kilter once I have this all styled. The first thing that I'm doing is giving this a base coat of a gray spray paint. This spray paint color is called Driftwood, and I can link it for you, but I'm not stopping there because I don't want a gray shelf. What I want is just a deeper toned, more neutral, dark wood shelf. So I'm going back over that gray background of paint with this dark antiquing wax. I love to use this antiquing wax. It always gives a really great result. I like to put it on with a brush. It has a nice work time, and it's very easy to just spread it out. I like to go in with a brush because it will give you in the end an almost wood grain look, which is really natural looking, so I like to do that. After that sits and dries, which it has to dry for maybe 5 or 6 hours to be dry enough to the touch where you can work with it and go ahead and hang it, I am just trying to basically keep it out of the way of our cat Curry, who just could not seem to stay away from it. He wanted to sniff it and got it in his whiskers and on his nose, so I had to keep kind of moving him out of the way. I should have done this outside. But once it was all done, I think that it looks so great, and I'm excited to get it on the wall. I just grabbed some hanging hardware from another picture frame that I wasn't using anymore, and I'm just putting those right onto the back of this one since it didn't have any on it. I like to use a laser level to get my exact line straight on the wall, and then I like to use some masking or painter's tape stretched across the back from brace to brace, put the holes in it there, and then put that on the wall so that I can get the exact width that I need to hang a shelf or a picture like this. So I'm using these drywall anchors just to make sure, because this is a little bit heavy, and then putting my screws in, and it goes up on the wall really smoothly and pretty darn level the first time, which is always great. This is hanging on a sort of spare wall in our master bathroom, and so I'm going to be styling it accordingly. I found these really cute little washcloths. Actually, I think that they're meant to be dishcloths, but wait till you see them up close. They're so pretty. I'm using them for washcloths. This little brass bud vase that I found at a thrift shop a while back, a DIY candle that I made from a thrift shop as well, a little jar full of some dried oranges, which I think are not just for the holidays, they go for any situation, any time of the year. They look great. And this little crock, also from the thrift shops. A lot of you have seen all of those items before, except for the washcloths are new. Also, these hand towels I picked up the other day from Home Goods, and I think that that will complete this shelf styling. I don't think that in its previous orangey wood state, this shelf would have looked very good at all in my home. I think that it would have just looked dated, but now with a darker, more modern color, I think that it looks like a purposefully vintage piece that blends in with my modern vintage and modern charm sort of style. So I'm very happy with it and totally glad that I waited around an extra 10 minutes to talk to the manager about the price reduction so that I could get it for only $10. Now, another thing that I picked up from the thrift shops, you have actually already seen if you watched the video from the week before last. It's this beautiful white wicker desk. It's definitely a vintage piece. They were asking $83.50 for it. And as I was editing my footage for that video, I kind of saw it again and kept thinking about it and thought I probably should have gotten that for my daughter's room. It goes for a lot more online, as you can see, for this exact piece as a vintage item. They had, again, $83 on it, and I thought that that was actually a really good deal, and I thought it had been pretty sturdy, so I went back to get it. This was the little desk that I actually made over a while back for my daughter's room, and found the chair and the little wastebasket as well, all from the thrift shop, and I just thought, well, why not go ahead and upgrade that? I found something that I think is even better. I also had found this little lamp that I love, the glass shade, for $19.99, also from a thrift shop, and so I'm just going to be pulling these few things together to kind of redo this spot in my daughter's room. The desk looks great over here. The lamp looks really good on the desk, and it's also very easy for her. She's only 5 to just simply reach up and use those pull chains rather than some other types of turning on and off a light. I'm just adding a few little florals here in this planter that I picked up from Michael's, and this desk is really good to go. I thought about giving it a color change, but honestly for now, especially in such a little girl's room, I think that it looks great in white, so I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm reusing the black thrifted chair that was only $5, and I think that this whole setup looks so good in her room, and it looks really, really cute. A lot of the art and other pieces in this bedroom are thrifted, and so it's all really coming together, although it did take some time. Even this arched little cork mirror was only $5 at a yard sale years ago. Now, speaking of yard sales, another thing that I picked up from a yard sale recently was an antique mirror. I don't like to film on people's private property very overtly, so I didn't get footage of myself actually getting it, but it's this mirror. Again, it was for $5, and I thought that it was just really dirty on the front. It did have some cracks in the frame, which I was aware of, but I wasn't concerned about that. It seems to be a very old piece, maybe French provincial sort of style, but anyway, also it had some marks that once I cleaned it, I realized it was beginning to antique on the mirror itself, and it had something that I didn't quite catch on film, but it almost looked like a big fat handprint or something. It was starting to antique basically, but not in a very pretty way, so I figured I would go ahead and take some steps to further antique this, to blend that sort of in and make it look more intentional. You can see here I found lots of examples of antiqued mirrors that are quite expensive online. They're definitely a thing that people are buying and using, and I think that they're beautiful, so I'm just going to try to achieve that with some simple spray paint. I'm going back in with that same gray driftwood color spray paint. I have it set on low output. This one has different kind of settings that you can use on it, and I'm just standing back and doing a light mist around it. Again, it's very hard to film on a glass or a mirror. You guys can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm just doing it very lightly. I did a light spritz of black spray paint as well, and then I'm going in with some rubbing alcohol in that bottle and just kind of tapping and dabbing and making it kind of spread those out and look a little more authentic. And I think that once I show you the final result back in the house, you'll be able to see the effect that this creates. So this is more of what it looks like once I'm done. I think that it does have a fairly authentic, antiqued look, even though it's just a simple treatment with some spray paint. There are other ways to achieve this, going in through the back side of the mirror, taking off some paint and stripping that and going in through the reflective layers. I didn't want to mess with that, and I think that this was a much easier way for only $5 and some spray paint. And another thing that I picked up from the thrift shop was this beautiful basket This definitely caught my eye. It's a very large size. As you can see, it's quite long. They had $3.99 on it, and I thought that that was an excellent price. I couldn't quite identify exactly where it came from online, so I gave up after a little while, but definitely we all know that baskets can certainly be expensive depending on the vendor that you're buying them from. These are examples from McGee & Co. and from Pottery Barn, and I think that they're beautiful, but I'm always very happy to find something similar, especially in a large size, and for such a low price, only $3.99. So I'm going to be keeping this one on hand to be basically used to take items back and forth out to our patio that we have out back for when we eat out there. I have this set of dishware that's melamine that I thrifted. I've showed you before, and this will be a great tray to just pile some of that stuff on as I'm taking a trip out to the patio and make everything seamless, be able to sit on the table and then bring everything back in. So those were my thrifted finds for the week, but before we go, let's turn our attention to a subscriber score as well. This submission came to me from Sarah C., who's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and first of all, she got both of these vases on separate trips for $2.99 and $5.99 respectively, and painted them in a French linen color. I think those are really pretty, Sarah. Also, she ended up finding this beautiful vintage magazine table, and I think that it's just stunning. She only paid $6.99 for it. She's asking if I think that she should leave it as is or sand it and restain it, and I'm just not sure. So you guys let her know what you think in the comments below. So that about wraps it up for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button before you go and leave me a comment letting me know what you enjoyed. I hope that everyone listening has a fantastic week, and I'll see you at the next video.